Hey everyone, Marcin here again, and today we're tackling one of the biggest questions. How do you set your packages and pricing? In this video, you'll learn how to structure your photography packages to highlight value, how to confidently set your rates so you're not undercharging, and how to communicate what makes your offerings unique. There's also a handy PDF in the description with everything I cover here today, so you don't have to worry about taking notes. You can fully tune in. Let's jump in. So photography packages that sell, we're going to talk about pricing. We're going to talk about how do we talk about our packages. And we're going to talk about how the customer client is perceiving our packages, right? Because a lot of times we, as photographers, think from like a technical aspect, but our clients are usually thinking from an emotional place. So before I do that, I'm Marcin. If this is the first time you're running into my content, I basically did 17 years of photography, and I'm sharing all aspects of photography. If you're into photography, if you're maybe starting photography, maybe you're getting a camera and lenses with the intention of selling your services, whether it's portrait photography, kids, groups, corporate work, to all the way up to weddings. You have to just kind of position yourself somewhere. When you're starting, it's always easier to just start with individuals and smaller groups, and then work your way through like corporate levels. Maybe when I say corporate, it's really like business photography for local businesses, for doctors, lawyers, real estate agents. I mean, anybody sort of within your proximity that you can take some professional photography for. But you know who I am, so now let's go in and talk about the subject. So photography packages that sell, you have to understand before we dig deep that you're selling value, not stuff. This is a very common mistake when we put together packages, and this is, by the way, when you look online, a lot of photographers make this mistake. When they list a lot of stuff in their packages that clients can't really resonate with. They really don't know the details behind the curtain. So you're selling value, not just stuff. We'll talk about it in detail. Photography packages that emphasize experience over deliverables. Again, where we want to address client concerns. They're coming to us charged emotionally. They're super excited about their events or their family photography. Sometimes families do it for the very first time. Sometimes you're dealing with seniors that are first time in front of the camera. It's a big deal because it's a professional photographer in front of them. So they come emotionally charged, and they can't relate again to the technicalities. So it's something we're going to talk about. Strategies to maintain pricing integrity. I'll tell you a little bit about how I do it, how I have done it, and the mistakes that I have made at the very beginning. So with that being said, I'm going to move on to second slide here. And this one is says your standard package is the hero, and lead with your preferred package. Keep it emotionally resonant, like I mentioned earlier. And I also included same day edits, not something that everybody does. I tend to do it for different purposes, including marketing purposes. But same day edits as a standard included in the package. But let's stop here for a second, pause, and let me unpackage this whole value versus items, right? So most photographers, when we start to price our services, we focus on things like albums or prints or hours. And like I said, clients cannot resonate with that information. The real value for them is experience, and really for the brides is the peace of mind. And if bride has a peace of mind, then the groom also has a peace of mind. So, but it's really for any subjects that you're photographing, it's the peace of mind. They're usually stressed out unless you're working with somebody that's been modeling 24/7. It's somebody that's standing in front of the camera for the first time, probably, or maybe second. But the thing is, they just want to be relaxed. They want to be hands off. They want you to kind of take care of everything. And this is really what you're selling. So when you're selling your package, it's okay to have items listed in your package. It's just try to connect those different individual items into their sort of emotional state, their objection. Think of it as their objections, or think of it as their, what would the client worry about, and how can I solve that worry with something that's in my package. And I'll talk about the details in a little bit. So again, you're selling value, you're solving their worries. You're not just listing a bunch of things with like 12 by 12 album and this is the size of the print you're going to be getting, whether in the glossy or like that's not something that should be in your package. What happens for the client eventually is that it's really about, and you should write it down, perceived value rather than an actual value. A lot of times you're not selling tomatoes. So it's not like, is your package, is your service worth it? They don't have a comparable. If there's somebody that's doing their wedding for the first time, they probably have no experience to compare the service they're about to receive, that you're about to render, to another wedding, right? So it's very rare. So most of the time, it's this emotional sell that you're doing. Your standard package, as I mentioned on this slide, should be really, when clients come to me, I really lead with like a clear and prefer package, and I say that 90% of my clients go for. Now imagine this: if I just make that statement like, hey, here's the package, and like 90 to 95% of my clients go for this package, what does that do psychologically, right? I mean, people buy what other people buy. That's just, if I unpack it, it's just that simple. So when you're already showing them, you guys can probably relate. When you're sometimes online buying services, like online services, you usually have you're being presented with three packages. There's like a low package, the medium package, and there's like a super high-end package, right? And people don't want to buy the cheapest stuff. Sometimes they want to kind of justify it with logic, and they'll say, yeah, no, but like this one's too expensive. And they go for somewhere in the middle. And that's exactly what you guys are trying to do. And just present them with a package and say, hey, we have tried to do it different ways, and people have been asking for like similar items. So we try to bundle this together, and just, this is the package that we came up with. And this is the result of us asking clients, because this is what they seem to appreciate the most. And it's intuitively, it's like the pressure is off their shoulders, because they're like, oh, well, if 90% of the people are buying it, then how do we then justify buying into that package, right? So speaking of that, I don't have my package in front of me, and we'll go, I think we went over in one of the trainings. I'll probably bring it back, but our package is really about, I mentioned before, in my package, I don't mention albums, like specifics of the albums. I don't mention specifics on what they do with the online gallery. I don't even spell out hours. This may be a shocker, because people are like, oh my God, what do you don't say whether it's 8 or 10? So, or the question I get very often is like, oh my God, so it's like unlimited? Kind of. And with that being said, it's my package, I think it even says on unlimited time, but we clarify, like, our contracts are really the thing that they signed. And in the contract, you can then spell out the details. And most of the time, even in the meeting, I'll say, hey guys, I don't want you to stress on your wedding day. Usually we have, and this is literally what I say, we have tried, working in the 6 hour, 8 hour, 10 hour increment, and it just didn't work. And in the end, I want you to be happy, because if you're happy, you're going to bring another customer. And if you're happy and you bring more customers, then I'll be happy. So it's obviously a mutual benefit. And I always say there is a point at the event when, because we're only talking situations like events, right? With corporate clients, or it's never per hour. It's usually, you count per individuals that are present there for you to shoot. So it's a little different. For weddings, though, you actually what I do is I said it's unlimited because if you're getting ready and you want me to show up there an hour earlier, I don't mind, because in retrospect, whenever I look at the day of the wedding, the day of the event, because it could be a birthday party, it could be something else, I say, listen, I just want you to do. I don't want you to stress, right? If you need us to show up an hour earlier, we'll show up an hour earlier, because when you look at the amount of hours that you're working for, it's really the hours that are going into the day off, and then you're spending another probably 20 hours, editing, or depending on who's doing the work. But I'm going to assume you're going to be the one doing the work. 20 hours may go into the final package, right? So it's never a per hour thing. It's, again, perceived value. Is the client willing to pay for not having to stress on their wedding day? And I got to tell you, if it's just that 1 hour and they automatically perceive this service, whatever price you're offering, as valuable to them, it's an automatic sell. So what I would normally say, I would say, I will show up an hour, let's say I want to start at 10 o'clock. Do you feel comfortable with that? If we need to start at 9, we'll start at 9 o'clock. And then usually there's a time during the day. It's usually at around, let's say, 9, 10 o'clock, where, everything is pretty much captured, all the dances, introductions, and all the important things, the toasts. And then it's just dancing. And we get to the point, during the night where, like, 9:30, 10-ish, people with enough alcohol, things get a little out of control, at which point we want to stop the sort of formal part of photography, and they are fully aware of it. So the day is really no longer than like 10 hours. But when you tell them it's unlimited, it automatically, like, imagine if somebody told you, like, it's your huge event, and I tell you 8, 9, 10 hours, you automatically start counting. But if I say, don't worry, we'll capture whatever we need to capture, but you still kind of define the lines later on, right? Whether it's a contract or in a conversation like we do, they still understand, because you're reasonable. Your request is not unreasonable. They understand that they don't have to worry about. And I also say, hey, and even if it's 9 o'clock, and let's say we didn't cover the cake, like, don't worry about it. It's not like we pack and go. We always go to, and like, ask you. We ask whoever is running whether it's a coordinator or a DJ. We would go in and ask if it's okay, if we have captured everything. So there is not a single worry that we're going to miss any of the important moments. And if we're going to leave, at 9 o'clock or 9:30, like, it's usually we have enough of material, or enough of candid, sort of photography, where capturing more dancing, it's just the same stuff, because it's the same guests dancing on a dance floor, and everybody's cool with it. And it's a totally different perception of having this, like, hey, I really don't have to worry. This is, you have 10 hours, and then automatically they start calculating and panicking, and that's not where you want them to be. So that's what we do. It works for us every time. Hopefully it'll work for you. I actually know it will. But that's what's in the package. We keep it very simple. Like I said, the slide says here, let's look again. The slide says your 90% go to offer the clients love. So that's the package I talk about. Full day coverage, like I said, this whole unlimited business. 2 shooters. People absolutely love when you mention that, and we're going to talk about verbiage and actual words that you use to describe it. But I say, hey, it's 2 shooters. It's like 2 people, and automatically, just with that, and it's this, you're building up value, right? Because it's like everybody wants to feel important. Everybody wants to know that they're taken care of. And the second shooter, it's usually like me, and it could be another shooter, somebody that's helping out, second shooter. Maybe they only do candidates. Maybe they only take pictures of the cake. Maybe they only carry equipment. But if you say, hey, it's 2 shooters, or there's going to be 2 people handling the event, automatically, again, perceive value. They think that they're being taken care of, and then everything will be done professionally. So that's a big deal. And then for the online gallery, again, we do this whole VIP exclusive thing with naming, but it's an online gallery. It's just the way you kind of phrase it in your package. The simple, they added a simple, memorable offering that delivers value. And the value with same day edits, it's like a quick edit of maybe 30 photos. I do it on the spot, either on a laptop, on a computer, on a big screen, depending on what options they choose. But I do it because it's a phenomenal marketing tool, because guests are there, everybody's in a good mood, everybody's in this state where like, oh my god, like we're at the wedding, it's not over yet, but like there's like a preview, so it's immediate value, right? And if you can show to your client, there's absolutely no stress. They understand that even if you take longer with your full edit, it's still okay, because they got a proof from you that like things are in the works, that you will deliver other images as well. So that's really the package. And like I said, most of what I do when I present my package is I try to focus on, you will not have to deal with stress. Even if I walk them through the day, I always say, hey, don't worry, like we got this, we own this task. So you're basically, again, it's like no stress, like I don't have to do anything, hands off. So always focus on like, how does this thing in your package solve a problem for them, which is usually, I want less stress. And then budget options strategy. So the drop deliverables, not price. Very important. I think I did a reel recently on this. Don't simply yeah, that was the reel with the baby, if you're following me on Facebook. But what happens here is protect your brand value, be transparent about what's different, never discount your expertise. Guys, very, very, very important. You don't build confidence and trust if in front of your client you suddenly start discounting your price. Like, what is your price then, right? Like if the client is asking like, oh, well, can we get a discount? Like, we really want you, we can book right now if you drop it by $400 or $500. It's like, so let's say you go from like a $3,500 package to $3,000, and it's like, so what is the price? Like, do you really have the $3,000 package that you want me to pay $3,500 for? Like, that's not good. So you don't want to do that. And that's not to say that I don't work with clients. I understand budgets. And sometimes we have a client, they're super excited, they want to work with us. Sometimes it's like short events or short photography engagements. It's like, okay, what can you do? And the same with corporate, same with family portraits or individual. It's like, okay, well, we're not going to do 2 locations. Maybe we can do 1 location. So it's okay to not discount, but to work the package to meet them at certain level, right? It's not simply just changing the number. It's just saying, sure, I mean, I'll work for less, but you will get less. And that's totally fair. So if you're willing to drop from, maybe fewer hours, maybe from 2 shooters to like 1 person working at the event. Maybe you can drop the same day edit, although I wouldn't like to, because like I said, it's a great marketing tool. You can definitely do that. And it protects your brand. Like, somebody knows you're legit, that you're pretty solid with your offer, if you're not willing to just drop the price, upon like single request, right? Somebody's sitting and just asking for the price to be lower. Plus, it's unethical, right? When you do it, other clients are paying just whatever standard price, somebody coming in and asking for less. I do have the question, like, what if you pay with cash? However you guys handle this, it's a personal thing. You want to have things on the books, legit way, and just kind of showing your operations. So not going to get into that. And that's just really what it is. So remember, discounting, I don't like that word, but like molding the package to your client needs, totally okay. All right, next slide talks a little bit about, this is psychology of pricing. So let's go a little deeper with this one. And as I mentioned before, you want to have 3 types of packages. Here on the slide, it says premium package anchoring, showcase high-end offer first. Always remember that. This is the framework for how you do it, right? So step 1, introduce high-end offer, like an 8K, for example. I know it may scare some people, with like albums and upgrades and just extra fluff. What's the extra fluff? It could be like extra albums. It could be like 3 albums instead of just 1. It could be 3. It could be doing an engagement session. It could be doing a pre-wedding rehearsal dinner coverage or something. Like, make it sound big, just make sure it's worth it. But I'm sure for 8K you can go out there and spend an hour working a rehearsal dinner. But just make sure it's worth it. Load it up and just make sure that it's something real that you would be willing to work for. But just make it ridiculous. Like, it almost has to feel uncomfortable for you, like very uncomfortable. So for us, it would be we have moved the price originally from 8K to like 12K, and we would like to introduce that first, and then we introduce our next package, the one that people usually buy. So this could be depending on what it is, but it could be a 4K to like a 6K package. And like I said, people will rarely go with a top tier package, but it kind of reframes the middle package. What do I mean by that? If you want to show that you're worth the investment, you don't want to have your upper ceiling, your price that you actually charge to be presented first. You basically show the high-end price, the higher package. 10% of your clients may actually jump in and get this package. 90% of the clients will take it as like, wow, like this photographer means business. Like, he's worth 8K or 10K or 12K. But we can get this package, like the stuff that we only need, for 4K or 5 or 6K. This is huge because it's like a mental anchoring against value. Like, imagine like if you're looking at a car and it's like, I remember a good example when we were buying a house. Like, the guy said, hey, whatever, the price is this much, and then he goes, and then we're like, oh my god, like that's expensive. I don't think we can swing it. Like, it's not within the budget. But he's like, but hold on. You don't actually have to go with like this version of the house. You can actually like go lower and whatever, like get the same house, but like not get all the options, and like you guys can select, because there's like 100,000, 100K in like upgrades in this house. And then we're immediately like really, and we're looking at the version of the house that's already like hooked up with all the options. So it's like we're mentally now hooked into this value, and then he goes like, and we can get it for like 100K less. That's phenomenal, right? So and the price of the house, it is what it was, right? So everything else was just extra fluff, like this 8 to 10 to 12K. Hey guys, we're gonna pause this just for 1 second. If you're enjoying this video and the content and want more exclusive content, join our Facebook community. Inside, you'll get access to live sessions where you can actually ask questions in real time. Just scan the QR code on the screen and follow the link. Can't wait to see you there. Back to the video. So it's super important to know that, and then present them with the package that you typically sell with your regular price, and then they know that you mean business. You show the value of your brand and value of your time and your services, and then you just sell it at the regular price. So it's this psychological anchoring for what you're selling. The next one here is what clients are really buying. So I was kind of all over the place I mentioned that already a couple times, but what are they actually buying? Like, think of I use that example a lot, but like think of an example of like a Mercedes commercial. I actually saw yesterday. I was something on YouTube, and I saw a commercial of, because we're in Florida, the watercrafts are being advertised here very frequently. So like Sea-Doo does their jet ski or whatever, and I'm sitting there and watching, and there is a Sea-Doo commercial, and what they're showing is everything but the Sea-Doo itself. Like, there's literally 2 shots of the jet ski. No mention of the price. There's no mention of the technical specs. They don't tell you how fast it is. They don't talk about the engine. They don't talk about the maintenance. Nothing. They just showed you, like, they did show literally 2 shots of the jet ski. Most of it was like kids jumping off of the jet skis. A guy, on a jet ski, a full speed with a huge smile. There's like a couple at a sunset. Like, all of it is emotions, because we buy with emotions and we justify with logic. And it's very important to remember that, because when people come in, like I said, they're not necessarily there for what, ask you. Nobody's going to ask what camera you have. Like a lot of photographers stress out about like the technicalities of it and like what pictures, what albums, what options. And yeah, clients like to hear that. Like for us, we only sold maybe to probably less than 30% of our clients in terms of the product. Like with so many options online, people are not even asking for albums as often. But they're all coming in with like this. They're asking for peace of mind, reliability, and trust. They want to know that you're going to show up, that you're going to show up on time, that you're going to do the work, that you're going to understand the flow of the event, whether it's family photos, senior photos. Like you have to be prepared. You got to come in with some sort of an agenda, a timeline, or whatever. And this shows your professionalism. This shows that you have done it before, or at least have thought about it enough that you're actually prepared. Like, being prepared. I mean, there's nothing that can beat it, right? So even if it's your first wedding, but you have been as a guest to a wedding, you can say, "Hey, here's a typical. Here's what I have in terms of a timeline for your wedding. Like this is how I see your wedding. Like imagine this. If you just said that to a client, they're like, oh my God, like the first meeting, we're just sitting down to talk and he already or she already thought about like a timeline for our wedding. That's amazing, right? So it's just something that you guys have to remember because it's offloading the stress and the pressure for the client. I already mentioned we all like to be, we all like to feel special. And we all want to think of our events and when we work with photographers of those occurrences is very special. So we're all looking for the VIP experience. This is the second point on the slide here. To photographers feels luxurious. I mean, it does, right? Even, how we like to book different things, and we sometimes even brides even like to brag sometimes about like, hey, for my event, I have two photographers, right? For my event, I paid $6,000 for my photographer. Like it's almost like bragging rights, right? They want to feel special. It's the biggest probably event of their life, and who would not like to feel special? So this VIP experience in terms of how we name things even in the package is very important. I'm going to do another episode just to take you guys through and just show you, but it's the wording, the way we phrase what they call a copy, meaning the words that you use on your website, on your Facebook profile. It's important, and we can all use AI, ChatGPT to like help us with this stuff. Back in the day, it was super expensive. You actually had to hire like a copywriter to come up with those things. Part of what I'm teaching, actually, when I work with my students, I actually take them through and just show them how super easy it is to do it these days. When you either create your custom ChatGPT or prompt it in a sort of in the right way with this sort of psychological prompts so that it knows what to spit out, because you don't want to be creating some generic content that a kid can do with ChatGPT. So that's just something that needs to be taken care of. Emotional payoff, same day edits create immediate joy. Like I said, it's an immediate feedback, right? Everybody, even when you're like working, they've hired you, you've showed up, you're there working. For them to have this immediate feedback of like, oh my God, like I can tell you, to our same day edits, the reaction is always the same, like 100% true. We show literally like 20 to 30 to 40 images sometimes, depending on time. And clients are just blown away, right? Like it's just this, how could images from the wedding like you're there shooting, it's of course better when you have somebody there, with a camera. So while I edit, or you can these days you can offload images, send it to somebody, and somebody, a kid at home can do a quick edit for you. But it's basically something that we should, and it's an instant feedback, instant gratification, right? So they get something at the day of the event, and everybody's super psyched, excited. Very often we have future clients approaching us. I always have business cards there laying around, and they always ask, because they're like, oh my God, you guys like work this fast and whatever. Like it's almost like you're pre-selling your future clients, right? And then status, hiring the best photographer, like with what I said with the price, with anchoring, and like client wants to feel like they've hired the best photographer, right, for their money. So even if they paid you 4, 5, or 6 grand for the event, they want to know that you're worth 12,000, 15,000, right? So, and it's, I sometimes when I mention those values, it may sound super high, but I want you guys to understand. Personally, I had a discussion with a photographer from Australia. He shoots weddings and he charges $52,000 per wedding. So I rest my case on pricing. The next thing here is the value equation. So this is a very popular topic. There's 4 things that go into this perceived value, like client viewing something as like super valuable to them, right? And the 4 things that go in there is the dream outcome. So you're talking about like, memories for them and emotions that somebody will be experiencing while viewing their photos or album, and like, hey, leaving legacy, and like this is going to be the thing that you can leave for your kids. Those options were not available back in the day, right? Like, I mean, these days you have crazy options. I can probably grab something from the back here and just show you guys. Like this is what we are currently selling with our packages. And those albums are freaking phenomenal. Like they're, the finish, the suede, the images on the main cover, and then you open it, and this is just the box alone, right? Like imagine this, leaving it to your family members, even you revisiting. Like it's really nice to go back to this thing and just open it up, and then we have a USB here that's embedded with the images, right? Digital negatives, and then we have the actual album. And then when you pull out the album, sorry, it's kind of hard to manage it as I'm recording, but that's just what it is. So like the dream outcome, like this is where you're getting, this is the service you're going to be getting with us. It's very important. It's item number 1 in that equation. The item number 2 in that equation is certainty. So I mentioned before, like a lot of clients want to see experience, and that experience you can show them with either like testimonials, if you have done photo engagements before. But if you don't have that experience yet, you can talk about the process. Very often I say, try to second shoot with somebody. Just go to whatever they're, whether it's again, family portraits, senior portrait, some corporate business photography, or wedding, try to go. Or like I said, even if you're at the wedding, you can observe how the photographer works and talk about the process. The client doesn't, especially when you're starting and you're trying to like, they understand that they're gonna get what they're paying for. So if you're starting and somebody pays you, let's say, at the very minimum $2,000, right? If they're paying you $2,000, are you even familiar with the process, right? Like you're just not a random person who's going to show up, never been to a wedding, have no idea like what's going on. Maybe it's a different denomination. Let's say maybe you're Christian, but you have a friend that's Jewish and asking, and she or he is asking you to like, hey, can you help us out? We'll pay you $2,000 and you're gonna shoot our wedding. Like they want to make sure that you understand the cost because it's different. The logistics of the ceremony, there are different things that you need to recognize, and they just want to make sure that you're prepared. So you have to increase the certainty with either showing them the work or showing them that the process, and this is kind of your approach, you're planning for it. Even if you show them something simple as like, very often when I talk to clients, I may bring to like senior portraits, I may bring a cheat sheet from like with ideas from Pinterest and say, oh, I was thinking about it because you're a volleyball player. Here's what I was thinking like we could do. And this is not, nothing is written in stone. This is just ideas. Like, what do you think? Imagine like in their mind, the certainty like that you're thinking about it and know what you're doing goes up. And that's exactly the what we need to do here. The third item is go back to the slide here, is the time delay, and then the fourth is the effort. But let's take them apart. So you need to decrease, because it's almost like an equation, like the increase dream outcome is at the top and the certainty is at the top, and then this is divided by like you're trying to decrease the delay at the bottom and decrease the effort on client side. What do I mean by that? So the delay is like same day edit, because you automatically show them that the information is available, that the pictures are available. If it's not same day edit, it could be like a sneak peek the night after the wedding, or the day after the wedding, or 2 days after the wedding. It's something that validates that, yes, you were there, you did the work. Here's the quick preview. It could literally be 1 photo, 3 photos, 5 photos, and you can send it to them to get them excited. And the nice really thing about the sneak peek is that this is the time when you should be collecting your referrals and your testimonials, because client is in the highest peak of their emotional state. They just got to work, they're super excited, they just had their wedding, and you should be asking like, hey guys, do you mind leaving us, whatever. And if they're in this higher emotional state, they will definitely work with you. Never wait to get your testimonials or your reviews year after the wedding. It's like the emotions just come down. It's not the same anymore. They don't really care anymore at that point. And you just make sure that you stay on top of it. So remember, decrease delay, show them something as soon as possible. And then also decrease the effort on their end, which is basically like they want to have it's a hands-off thing. What do I mean by that? When it comes to a timeline, like bride wants to know that she's not going to have to hold your hand, right? So by showing the process, you're obviously doing that, but also you can say, hey, listen, we're signing a contract right now. It's a year before the wedding, or like 6 months before the wedding. And you can say, I will reach out a month before the wedding just so we can work the timeline, and we're going to figure out, and we'll probably do another training session just on that alone. But you want to show that you're going to handle it, that there's nothing she needs to worry about. If there's something, that you have to do, maybe with the church, maybe it's a picky priest that she worries about. Oh, our priest, I'm hearing that a lot. Oh, our priest, he's kind of sensitive. He wants to make sure that you're not going to step on the altar or do whatever, something crazy. Or maybe you need a permission for a corporate shoot. Maybe you're shooting at a special location and you just need to, they know you can, but like, we just got to make sure that you're all set. It's like, hey guys, don't worry, I'll make the phone call. I'll make sure we're all set. A lot of times I actually had a location in Hartford in their city hall. They were really picky. There's like time limitations, and there was this older lady handling this whole process. And we always kept a good relationship with her, and we always would have her number, give it to our clients, and like, yes, you guys have to call, but like, here's all the information. So everything would be prepackaged. They're like, they would normally be so thankful, because they normally don't even know where to start, right? So this effort, like minimizing the effort, same day, like later, let's say you're presenting them with online gallery, like, hey, you don't have to worry about anything. Here's the link. Just send the link to your friends, and there's a process where they can register, they can buy their own stuff. You don't have to worry about that at all. So that's super, super helpful. Same with the church. Like, hey, let me call the priest, or let me stop by the church, or whatever it is. It's like, if you can show that, then think about it. The dream outcome, the memories, the emotions, the legacy is up. The certainty about like knowing that you can do it is up. And then the delay of the presenting the work is down, and then the effort for them is down, and the equation, then, it's just a perfect sort of a mix of things that you can do for them and with them. I did mention at one point the verbiage and the wording. Bundle high value extras, items that cost you little, create perception of luxury. So when I mean that, it's usually it's renaming, it's phrasing things in a certain way. So when I add something, it's like, oh, it's an online gallery, I try to call it, VIP viewing experience. When I say, hey, we're going to help you with the timeline help in the pricing package, you may say stress-free wedding blueprint, or so anything that would sort of elevate this. Again, it's all about emotions. It's all about feeling special and feeling privileged. You got to make sure that it's there. So premium naming, gallery, VIP viewing experience, timeline helps, stress-free, blueprint, make sure that's included. And exclusivity matters, make standard feel special, curated client experience. I've covered that before. I don't think we need to go over it again. And then few things to remember as you're presenting your package and talking to your client. Actually, let me go back and take a look. Let's take a look at this together. Building scarcity, only one wedding per weekend. Walk through value, connect each element to their dream. You already know that. Never just hand pricing, guide the conversation. So this is where you're modifying things. And create urgency. We take just 20 weddings yearly. Just a couple things I wanted to point out here. So some of it you're already familiar with, but building scarcity and creating urgency, it's very, very, very important. Scarcity and urgency are your selling points. If you're going to say, hey guys, listen, I can, because sometimes clients ask for like, hey, when they're, you know, in the consultation, they usually ask, hey, how long do we have before we can sign a contract, or you know, we have got to make a decision. Maybe they have to talk to somebody that's covering the bill. Maybe they want to discuss it together. I always say, hey, listen, until somebody else calls, right? And I can only add like, hey, we only do one wedding per weekend. They're like, oh my God. Okay, well, if it's a popular weekend, if it's like a 4th of July or something, you guys are like, you're gonna have to make up your mind quick. Because it's a 4th of July, it's a popular day, it's a Memorial Day weekend or something, and it's like you have to get back to me probably sooner. It's not uncommon like that I will get back to you probably within a week for a popular date, for like a summer date, because there's a lot of people knocking on the door, and I just want to be fair. So that's scarcity. Like you're doing just one per weekend, and the urgency. It's like okay, but you know, even if I do that, it's like we take just 20 weddings yearly, right? So it's like a double whammy. Now it's like, oh my God, he's not only doing one per weekend, but it's just like 20 in total. So now they know that like if popular dates are being booked and it's just 20, like you're not going to stretch, you know, your operations, your systems, especially if you're working by yourself. And they have to know that they have to rush. So like always add that in there, sprinkle this magic pixie dust in there. So they have a sense of like urgency and you got to go back to you know him or her as soon as possible, because that's kind of building. It's this fear. It's FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. We all have problems with that. Whenever we see something attractive, something that we want, it's like, oh my God. That's why I'll give you an example. We're all probably Amazon shoppers, right? When you're looking at Amazon now, you'll know that when you're looking at items, very, very often, more often than not, they're listed with like, oh, only one available. Like there's not just one available. This is what they're doing to force us into buying, because if it's something you're interested in and like, oh, there's only 2 available, they always notice when you buy one, there's still same message shows up. And it's the same thing we're trying to do in this case, where we're trying to introduce scarcity and urgency. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I love sharing this information with you for free. And the best way you can support me is by subscribing to the channel, obviously, or liking the video or leaving a comment below. Your support means the world to me. And if you have enjoyed the content, make sure to check out the next video suggested on the screen. See you there.